Welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a 2-page layout using the My Life 365 collection from Bella Blvd. I am using the April papers to document Easter. So this Easter was a couple of years ago, and this is my second layout using the April papers. So I have a 5-inch strip, two 5-inch strips of this bunny paper left over. I had cut 2 inches off for the other layout, and I'm just going to place those at the bottom. I am not going to lie, I struggled using the April papers way more than I did with the January and February papers, and I'm not sure why. I had so much fun with the January, February papers, and this one here just seemed like a labor of love. So I just felt like I didn't have enough, which is crazy. They're, 2 pieces of paper and a handful of embellishments, but I still just felt like I didn't have enough. So I cut this polka dot border paper here in half so that I could place that all the way across the page. I have 4 photos. I have 3 4x6, and then I'm going to trim one down to a 4x4. And then kind of use the gap from the 4x6 photo to the 4x4 for my title. I kept out this Easter and then found on it's kind of like a similar type idea, a Simple Stories collection where they have the months. I found a happy, and so I'm going to add that to the title. I have a handful of embellishments left, a wheelbarrow full of flowers, which I want to try to use, and then a handful of I guess just single flowers, it looks like. So I really did try to kind of incorporate everything that I had left over because I don't think I have enough papers to make another layout using these, I guess this collection in the April papers. So I even looked back into my January and February papers in ephemera that I had left over just to see if there was anything color-wise that would match, and I didn't find anything. Then I went into my stash looking for the same thing. I found these brads and chipboard. It's like a birthday theme, but some of the brads had florals and were at least light colors. So I'm going to set those aside to try and use some of those. There is a nice floral cluster on that chipboard part of that package there, but I really struggled finding embellishments and ephemera pieces that I thought would fill in that space at the top. So what I ended up doing was actually bringing in some just pink cardstock, ripping it, and adding that to kind of fill in the space at the top. And I like the way that that kind of closes off the layout as well, and just really maybe limits the space I feel like I need to embellish. I was not thrilled with my rip on page 2 by any means, with that kind of giant hill, I guess I'll call it, in there, divot. I don't know. But we will end up adding a pattern paper underneath of that to fill that in. I did, when I was going through my stash, find some of the white doilies, and so I am going to end up using a couple of those on this layout. I just really liked the way that it looked with the wheelbarrow on top of it. It just, it's a busy pattern paper, and so by adding the doily, it really separates the wheelbarrow and the pattern paper. So I'm going to tape these down and commit to those. If I remember right, I did this layout second. I did them on the same day, but kind of why I was okay, I guess, using a little bit of the pattern paper. It's going to be a backside of a paper with some flowers. I knew I wanted to keep the tags. I will end up using the tags, but there's that floral paper. So once I kind of cut the tags apart too, I will end up going back up to the top to add some of that. I liked the tag with the bow, and then the one that says he has risen indeed. Really liked those ones. Thought I was going to add the bunny one over to the left and kind of layer them, but didn't like the layered look of those. But here's where I add the papers at the top. And because I added it there, I just felt like there was kind of a space towards the edge that was up higher. So I am going to add just a little bit over there. Again, just to add some more pattern, some more color to the top. And you know, the way that it's ripped on page 1, there was not really a huge space where I could add it, but because I added it on page 2, I definitely wanted to incorporate that on page 1. And so I did find just a, you know, that little curve there where I was able to sneak a little bit of that pattern paper there. So for these photos, I am just going to end up actually placing 3 of the photos right on the layout, not like me, but because half of the photos are going to be on white, I didn't feel like it was necessary. I really didn't want to double mat all of them. And so I did just actually place 3 of them right on the page. So committing to, I guess, the placement of that cluster at the bottom of page 2 there, popping that wheelbarrow up on some foam tape to add dimension. I will add to that as well. And one nice thing about like layering pieces, like the wheelbarrow's over top of my photo, we don't need to see the grass really. I have mentioned it before. I feel like we just don't have spring here. It goes from kind of ucky looking, to be quite honest, to summer a lot of times. Hence the photos, I guess. There's a little bit of green grass popping out of that one photo on page 2, but yeah, not a lot. This might have been the Easter, actually, that, yeah, it looks like it. We were bundled up on Saturday at my aunt's house for an Easter egg hunt, and it snowed, and then Sunday it warmed up, and we had beautiful weather, and we're able to eat outside. So that just kind of explains our springs. And it's kind of been the way it has been the last few weeks, too. We had a couple of days in the 70s, and we actually, as I'm recording this voiceover, have a snow day today. So, yeah, until it hits June, it's not really, you can't expect consistent warm weather here. So, anyways, back to the layout. I do layer 2 of the tags over at the top of that photo, and really, I tuck in part of that white tag, he has risen indeed, but made sure that, you know, the first part of that phrase was visible. Brought in a couple of those brads to cover up the holes of the tags there. That chipboard floral piece from the brad set, and then some of these singular flowers as well, just to fill in some of the spaces. And yeah, add some extra color up there. So I am going to double mat this one photo here, the one of him with his Easter egg, using the same pink that I added to the top of the page. I had enough left over in the middle of it to mat and use up that piece of scrap here. So that is always nice. I wanted that straight edge, and so I ended up ripping either end of that pink paper when I did rip it, and so I had a fairly large chunk of the middle left over, which worked out for this. So I'm going to end up taping that down, going to my title and adding the Easter. It is a little bit long. It hangs off a little bit from the page, so I will have to go back and trim that down. But here's that sticker sheet, that foam sticker that's I found happy. It's from April. And not exactly the right color pink, but close enough. And I don't know, it was an easy addition to my title here. So once that's done, I think there's just one cluster left and some finishing pieces. I'm playing around with the 2 tags to the left. I just don't love that bright yellow there with the brown bunnies. There's not really brown anywhere else on the layout. I think if the bunnies maybe were a different color, it'd be a little different. Just didn't look like the way that those 2 looked layered on top of each other. I think initially the pink tag on page 2 is what I thought maybe I would layer with that one. I love the bow and wanted the bow tag to kind of stand out, and layering them here would not have made it stand out. So instead, I go back to the doilies and add one underneath of this one tag and add another brad to the space where there should be a hole there. That one is kind of a fun pink. I've got a black and white polka dot and then a floral one over on page 2. And then I kind of just make a layered, not really a scene, but layered flowers, and use the 2 carrots that are left over from the collection and add those to the bottom of the tag. Just again to add some more color and kind of use up the pieces that I had left over, because like I said, I don't think I have enough paper to really create another layout. On the foam sticker sheet, there were 2 butterflies. There was a pink one and kind of an aqua one, so I will end up adding those to the tag and doily cluster there. And as I was talking, I forgot to mention that I did end up adding a floral piece over to the wheelbarrow cluster and added a polka dotted brad to the middle of that. I just loved that the brads matched really nicely with this collection, and it just adds a different element to it. So to finish off, just looking for some finishing pieces, hearts and whatnot, and looking at different things in my stash. I used that sticker sheet with those hearts, I think, on the first page I did using the April papers. So I was kind of looking to see if there were any more that matched. But then I realized I have the puffy hearts from Bella Blvd. So color-wise, those puffy hearts should match and do match really nicely. I got the purple puffy hearts from She Loves Color, and then I bought, there's like a multicolored blue pack, a black, a red, and I have one more. Just like a royal blue pack, I guess. So I am going to add a couple of hearts to the title there, and then just add a couple of small ones over to the cluster on page 2. So again, not my favorite layout. I don't know why I struggled so much using the April papers. I'm hoping the May papers will, inspire me a little bit more, I guess. I have a Disney layout planned with those papers, actually, so hopefully I'll get around to that come April. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this layout. I will link the collection down below, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys!